The city of Tshwane has condemned violence linked to striking workers affiliated to the South African Municipal Workers Union. The Tshwane coalition is urging the SAPS and Provincial Public Order Police to enforce law and order. It comes after the Labour Court declared the demonstrations an unprotected strike. The strike was launched late last month. Workers demanded a 5.4% wage increase, but Tshwane says it's simply too broke to pay those salaries. Now, the strike has led to the axing of about 90 workers so far, as well as disruption to the delivery of basic services, including the provision of water. In the meantime, the Congress of South African Trade Unions is calling on the city of Tshwane to stop what it's called shameful attacks on municipal workers. Workers in the city say that what has happened is that the city of Tshwane has failed to honour increases which were agreed upon at the Bargaining Council back in 2021. Let's speak more about this then with Cosatu's Amos Monyela, the Gauteng chairperson. A very good evening to you, sir. Thank you for your time. So, you want basically the city of Tshwane to commit or stick to a bargaining council arrangement. It now wants the city to go to the bargaining council to seek an exemption in the coming days. How do you see this panning out?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to this discussion, and good evening to your viewers. Look, we are aware that the city of Tshwane is now going to the bargaining council to look for an exemption. We are ready to confront that issue, because the very same bargaining council was the bargaining council that ruled that the city of Tshwane must honor the collective agreement that was signed in 2021. So we are hopeful and confident that the bargaining council might not even give them an exemption on the basis of the ruling that they've already made.
But the city of Tshwane says, well, it simply has no money, and what was approved in the budget was passed through all the legal processes as per legislation, and that basically when you look into their books, you can see clearly that they simply cannot afford to pay any increases to workers in the municipality. So what now?
Well, one of the things that we do as the Federation is to defend collective bargaining and the gains that we've achieved through collective bargaining. We know for a fact that the municipality has received transfers from the provincial government, which will be able to alleviate their financial stress. Our position is that you shouldn't use workers when you are unable to run the municipality properly, when you are swindling public funds or municipality funds, and then those who must answer to this thing are workers. We think that is totally out of order, and we believe that the city of Tshwane will be capable of meeting the demands of workers, particularly the 3.4%, what we are engaging on the 5.4% in the current round of negotiations. We think that they are unreasonable, they've received money, and we believe that they are capable of paying workers. It's just that they are unable to service some of their debts, like electricity, something that the citizens are paying. They must tell the citizens of Tshwane where is the money of the electricity going to, because they're owing Eskom a lot of money. We need to know all of those things, because the citizens of Tshwane are paying for those services.
Are you sympathetic at all to what the likes of Mayor Celia Brinkman saying that basically they inherited a metro that was in disarray, the finances simply weren't making sense, and what they are now having to do is become a clean-up team, and while they sympathize with the need for money because everyone is facing a cost of living crisis, there's nothing they can do. Are you sympathetic to the current leadership, at least at that level?
Well, the question that you must ask, and the mayor must ask himself, who was governing the city of Tshwane from 2016? And then we can take it from that level, that it is the DA that has been leading the municipality for 2016. So how do we become sympathetic of a mayor who's coming from a political party that has been at the helm of the city from 2016 through their own coalition? So they must tell us who mismanaged the finances of the city of Tshwane. You must remember that even last year they did not pass the audit master. Who was responsible for that? Those are the questions that you must ask himself before he is asking for sympathy from the people of Tshwane as well as the workers in the city.
Mm-hmm. And the spokesperson, Salbi Bukaba, in a statement over the weekend said this: the city's application for the exemption is anchored on irrefutable evidence of its financial position, he said, which is the main reason why there was no budget appropriation for salary and wage increases for the 2023-2024 financial year. Simply put, no provision was made. He says it's irrefutable evidence. What basis would you use to refute it? Something in black and white.
Well, the process of approving the appropriation and the budget is the work of the municipality. The municipality knew before appropriation or approving of the budget that they still have got a debt of workers, which was 3.4%, which they should honor. So it is unwise of the municipality to go and budget outside the debts that they've incurred for paying workers. When they've budgeted other debts that they've incurred, for example, for the service providers like ESCOM, they've budgeted for it. So what is it that made them not to budget for workers, knowing that they've already have an agreement? And what strengthened our case is that the watchdog body of municipalities, SALGA, has concurred with workers. There can never be sympathy on recklessness on the processes of budget to stymie the processes that have been undertaken and that have been agreed upon.
Well, they say that what they had to do with the debt issue was to pay service providers, because if the likes of ESCOM did not receive payment, as we saw in the last year and a half or so, in fact last 6 months most recently, where ESCOM was threatening to switch off electricity supply to the city, what they wanted was to avoid a scenario where service providers take action against the city and ultimately that punishment, shall we say, being passed down to residents.
I mean, so you choose to starve your workers in the middle of this economic hardship, where there is an increase of everything, including the repo rates, everything that is increasing. And then you are saying that on the basis of recklessness or financial mismanagement of the city, which the Auditor General picked up, you then say workers must pay the price. I think it's something that is out of this world, that the DA-led coalition is doing. The first thing that they must do is to say, where is the money that citizens are paying for electricity? Where are they taking this money? Because where they were collecting money, it's government department, and those government departments, we are told, they are now honoring their payments, the payments that are made by citizens of Tshwane. Where are they taking them to find themselves into this financial quagmire? And at the end of the day, you sacrifice the life of workers. The workers must remain poor, must remain without any buying power when you have mismanaged the finances of the city of Tshwane. That's what we are rejecting as the Federation in this instance.
I wonder if Labour would be open to the idea of the city of Tshwane cutting back on staff in order to pay those who remain more. Would that make sense to you as a way out?
Well, we indicated to you that we are not for austerity measures of people who are reckless when they are in government. They talk a lot, but then they deliver little. They talk corruption. They are the very same people who are corrupt in the city of Tshwane. So let them go and get the billions that they've mismanaged in order for them to come back to the bar. We are not going to agree on a situation where workers pay the price through retrenchment in the city or downsizing in the city. We are also rejecting the dismissal that they've made. We are going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that those 90 employees are returned to work because there's nothing that they did other than defending collective bargaining. So that's what we are going to do as the Federation. If there was nothing that related to mismanagement of funds, we'll be talking something different. But we're talking about the city that has mismanaged the funds within the city, and they've been caught by the Auditor General for that matter.
So the issue with the strike has been the city saying quite clearly that, look, a court has already pronounced that this is an unprotected strike. Yes, the High Court has not granted the Tshwane Metro a contempt order against those workers who've not gone back to their posts, but they say there was more than enough warning for workers to go back to their posts in the infancy of this industrial action, and that what's now happened is that those who've remained on strike, there have been pockets of intimidation, and that's a situation they simply cannot allow to continue. So how then will you fight tooth and nail to protect or get those workers back under the employment of the city of Tshwane, given those issues?
I mean, people must give us proof as to whether some members are responsible for intimidating these workers, because we don't have information to that effect. Those workers, in essence, all of the workers are on the strike. If a worker is not going to work, they must point who is intimidating them not to go to work. And if they don't have proof to that effect, I mean, it is just an allegation which cannot be substantiated. So therefore, it must not even temper into the process of retaining those members who did nothing, by the way, but then defended collective bargaining and been expelled on the basis of mismanagement of funds.
I wonder
by
if
the
that
city,
stands, sir. I
Yes.
wonder, Mr. Monyela, if that would stand, because if you're saying there's no proof that these are SAMU members who are intimidating municipal workers still turning up for their duty, who else would have done and to what effect? Because to be able to identify, let's say, people on a name or face-by-face basis, it would have to suggest that you would have to be perhaps intimidated by someone who you've worked with or know previously, because strikes by their nature involve quite a lot of people. So is that not an unfair expectation?
No. Anything that you do, even if when we go to the court of law, even when we go to the disciplinary hearing, there must be proof to that effect. You can't just speculate. So there must be proof. If you know me to have intimidated you, identify me so that the law must deal with that. But if you don't have proof and work on speculations, that is not acceptable anyway.
Amos Monyela, good to speak to you. Thank you so much. Cosatu Gauteng, chairperson, speaking to us here on News of Prime.